You notice it in small moments. Something happens that should affect you. It barely does. Bad news arrives. You handle it. You move on. No shock, no breakdown. Good news comes too. You acknowledge it. You keep going. No real excitement. From the outside, you look steady. Inside, things feel flat. You are not overwhelmed anymore. You are not anxious all the time. You are just tired in a quiet way. Life keeps moving, and you keep functioning, but nothing really lands. This is not strength. It is not emotional control. This is what happens when a person has gone through too much for too long without a real pause. First, this needs to be clear. You are not broken. You are not cold. You are not incapable of feeling. What you are experiencing is not emotional loss. It is emotional shutdown. This state shows up after long exposure to pressure. Not one event, not one trauma. Too many things, without enough recovery. Your mind learned to reduce sensitivity, not because it wanted to, because it had to. People often mislabel this state. They call it maturity. They call it resilience. They call it being strong. But strength does not feel empty, and control does not feel numb. This is your nervous system doing damage control. It limits emotional input to keep you functioning. You still care. You still understand emotions. You just no longer feel them fully. To understand why this happens, we need to look at how overload builds over time. This state does not come from one breaking point. It comes from accumulation. You deal with one problem, then another, then another. No real gap in between. You adjust, you handle it, you keep going. At some point, your system stops resetting. Stress becomes constant. Relief becomes rare. This often happens in people who carry responsibility for a long time. You have to stay composed. Others rely on you. There is no space to fall apart. It can also happen when life keeps changing faster than you can process. New roles, new pressures, new expectations. Each situation alone might be manageable. Together, they overload your system. Your brain does not track events by importance. It tracks total demand. If demand stays high for too long, the brain looks for ways to reduce cost. Emotional processing is expensive. Feeling deeply requires energy. So your system adapts, not by stopping life, but by dulling the input. This is why people in this state often say the same thing. I can handle things. I just don't feel much anymore. That is not indifference. That is a system running in low power mode. Next, we need to look at what your brain is actually doing to protect you. Your brain's first job is not happiness. It is survival. When pressure stays high for too long, the brain looks for efficiency. It cuts what costs the most energy. Strong emotions are expensive. They increase heart rate. They demand attention. They slow decision-making. So the brain reduces their intensity. This does not happen suddenly. It happens step by step. You feel a little less each time. Joy becomes quieter. Sadness becomes flatter. Fear becomes distant. This is not avoidance. It is regulation under stress. Your nervous system stays in a controlled state, not calm, not panicked, just contained. From the outside, this looks stable. You stay functional. You make decisions. You deal with problems. Inside, your range narrows. The brain prefers this over emotional overload. Flat feels safer than intense. Neutral feels manageable. That is why emotional numbness often appears after endurance, not crisis. You did not break. You adapted. But this adaptation has a cost. When emotions are dampened, connection weakens. Motivation fades. Meaning feels distant. You are still present. You are just less affected. This is not a permanent state, but it will stay as long as your brain believes pressure is constant. Next, we will look at how this adaptation shows up in your daily behavior. You notice it in how you react to things. Problems appear. You solve them quickly. You do not feel shaken. People come to you with heavy stories. You listen. You respond calmly. Later, nothing stays with you. Good moments pass too. Compliments land softly. Achievements feel muted. You move on faster than expected. You rarely feel overwhelmed, but you also rarely feel deeply moved. Your days feel controlled, not alive. You stay productive, you stay reliable, but you feel slightly disconnected from what you are doing. You may notice that rest does not fully recharge you. Time off feels neutral, not bad, not refreshing. This is because rest alone does not undo emotional shutdown. Your system is not tired, it is guarded. You are operating in a narrowed emotional range. That range keeps you steady. It also keeps you distant. These behaviors are not personality traits. They are signals of a system that learned to stay contained for too long. Now we need to talk about what actually helps without forcing emotions to come back. The first thing that helps is understanding one point clearly. You cannot force yourself to feel again. Trying to fix this state quickly only adds pressure. Your system shuts down because it feels unsafe. Pressure tells it nothing has changed. What helps is reducing demand before chasing emotion. Start with stability, not positivity. Regular sleep, predictable routines, fewer emotional spikes. Your brain needs repeated proof that nothing urgent is coming next. Not for one day, for a while. Lower the need to perform emotionally. Stop expecting yourself to react a certain way. Flat reactions are not failures. They are signals. Small, low-intensity experiences matter more than big ones. Quiet walks, simple tasks, moments without evaluation. As pressure drops, your system slowly increases sensitivity again. Not suddenly, not dramatically. Feeling returns when your brain no longer needs to protect you from overload. This process cannot be rushed, but it does work when conditions stay safe long enough. We can close this by putting the experience into perspective. If you have gone through too much, numbness is not a failure. It is proof that your system adapted. You did not lose your emotions. You used them for too long without rest. Your mind did what it needed to do to keep you moving. With enough safety and time, this state softens, not because you push for it, but because your brain no longer needs to protect you this way. Nothing about you is missing.